The Chicago Bears continue to move towards making their roster final, and we have two more cuts. Well, a handful of more cuts that the Bears have made today. We're going to talk about it all and more. But first, you already know we got to play that intro.
Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm one of the hosts here, Haize. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So the Chicago Bears have cut both Collin Johnson and Brett Rypien leading into the final cut day, the final 53-man roster. The Chicago Bears still have 18 cuts remaining that they need to make on the team. They also have cut Jake Curran as well as some other players also. So the Bears are working their way through it. It's not really many surprises here so far that have been. I will say Brett Rypien may be the closest one to a surprise. We expect the Bears to carry three quarterbacks on this roster. Could mean that Brett Rypien is going to end up on the practice squad, something like that. But this has now been solidified. It is what it is. The Bears are moving on. Collin Johnson was one of the players that really did stand out and surprised in that Hall of Fame game. But since then, it really hasn't been a whole lot from Collin Johnson, mainly due to health. There's not a lot on him, but due to health. And the Bears decided to go ahead and move on there as well. So Byron Cowart gone, Collin Johnson gone, Brett Rypien cut, Jake Curran, who I just talked about, is also cut, and Carl Jones, Cameron Lyons, and Steven Carlson all getting waived in today's first set of cut players so far. The Bears aren't done. Like I said, they still have 8 players left that they got to waive before we can have that roster finalized. What's going on, Steve-O?
What's the word?
How you feeling
Man,
about these cuts, brother?
Not gonna lie, Brett Rypien kind of caught me off guard because I just really thought he was gonna be a part of this team just because he knew majority of the calls. He was with Shane Waldron, so he pretty much know the offense inside and out. So I'm pretty sure he was gonna make the team. But at the same time, I mean, Austin didn't ball out, especially those last 2 games. I think a big thing we probably went past and didn't recognize was that second game against the Bills where I think he only had 3 passes. And then Austin pretty much finished out the rest of that game, which was a pretty good game on his part. So I think that's the game where we really looked at him and was like, yeah, he gonna make the team. So yeah, that was the only thing that kind of surprised me. I mean, of course, with Collin, we wanted the best for him. We wanted him to be on this team. We felt like he could do a lot, but injuries has been 2 things that's been the reason why he probably ain't been making it. And it is what it is. Like it's a lot of people on this roster that we looking at, especially on the defensive side, that we probably want to keep. So he just fell by the wayside, and hopefully he gets back on his feet on somebody else's team.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is. Collin Johnson is a good route runner. He has nice size, and so maybe another team will pick him up. I hope the best for him. He had a really big game for us, but keep in mind too, like the Hall of Fame game is kind of a glorified scrimmage in a lot of ways. Not to crap on how good he was, but I can see why the Bears may not weigh that as much as some fans are weighing it. Is what I could say on that one. But we'll see what comes down to it, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one game where pretty much no starters will probably ever touch the field. And yeah, I think we put a lot of us put a little bit too much into that. But yeah, like I would say, my thought process was just because he knew the coach, he knew the offense. So I think that's what made me give him a 1-up. But hey, what goes on the field can't it shows you different. So what you might have thought and maybe what we don't see behind scenes is different. Maybe he does have a good understanding of Austin has a good understanding of the whole offense. Maybe he does have a better headset quality when it comes to relaying the protections or the calls back to Caleb more than a Brett Rypien. So it's probably some things that we don't even recognize as the reason why he made this team.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a lot going into it. Like we said before, like look at Nathan Peterman last year. Like the Bears waived and cut him about 5 times over the course of the season. Like
literally 4 times.
So I mean, he could very well still be part of the Bears' plans. They just have to get this 53-man roster down, and it comes down to it. The only other name, I won't really say any other names. Like Jake Curran, don't get me wrong. Like I liked Jake Curran as far as his versatility and things like that. but this may mean that that Larry Borum's going to end up staying on the roster. So
I told you, like I feel like Larry, for the most part, I mean, I feel like Bears fans kind of iffy on him, but like he's just a certified backup. Like at this point, and it's somebody we drafted, so we know he gonna keep on and cling on to the people that he drafted. And then again, like I will say on the positive side, I do think that Larry Borum does handle the bull rush more better than the others, and in the guard position, that's what majority of what you're going to be dealing with from an attacking standpoint. So yeah, I can see why they kept him. My only reason why I thought he wasn't going to make it just because he got injured last game, but apparently the injury is not as serious as what we thought it was, or it didn't seem that much serious anyway. He walked off the field, but I thought that was the only hindrance of maybe why he made the team. But I had a good feeling that he's probably going to make the team for sure.
yeah, I mean, yeah, when you looked at it, when it came down to the money was the biggest thing that they could save. But then again, once Poles created that extra $10 million in cap space and restructuring DJ Moore's contract, which we still got to talk about. That's such an underrated thing that he did. Like restructuring the contract, change the whole salary this year into a signing bonus. Like that's amazingly smart to give yourself a little bit more flexibility cap wise. It's just such a great deal from him. So
And shout out to DJ Moore for even taking that because he said it like, I'm good with the money. I'm not trying to be that guy that's trying to replace or change the market. It was he said in the Hard Knocks, it was a quality amount of money. The years add up and the money add up. So I took it. And that shout out to him as well for not being overly greedy. Like we see a lot of these other CD Lambs and dude on the Bengals and people like all these other wide receivers has been getting paid and top market pay. We said we're gonna give you some money, but we ain't gonna give you top market money. He was cool with it.
yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. Like that's the point of having a great negotiator, because that helps gives your franchise so much flexibility. And you see a lot of these franchises don't have that, and then they end up, having to consider trading players like Michael Parsons. So I mean, you know what it comes down to. So, you know,
Yep. And we definitely got eyes on that motherfucker.
I
I'm just
mean,
telling you that now.
I talked about it on today's daily. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, if you can get him, get him. But it's probably gonna I just don't know if I see Ryan Poles making that move at this time. Now, man,
Not
I
this
mean, he's
year.
not even on
No.
the market yet, so it's not like
Yeah.
like they're trying to trade him right now. It may not be into the offseason, but like it's probably going to have to say it's probably going to take multiple first round picks in the third to get him in.
And then that's the thing, like with me and Coach T always talked about is you don't want to take a big swing too early. And he
Yeah.
kind of mentioned that with the Detroit draft last year. He felt like, yeah, they made some noise enough, barely making the playoffs the year prior to making the playoffs. Like he felt like going to get that running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, which definitely helped them out, but he felt like it was more of that's a win now type of move right now versus like there was some other things like on the defensive line that the Lions definitely needed that they ignored for a running back. And I think that's the same thing with us. Like Poles is not going to take those huge risks until he knows this is the team, this is the core, and we probably I say I could see him trying to make that move a year next year or a year or midway through the season of next year, because that would give him kind of the sense of, is this the team where we going to try to shoot for this championship for the most part, or should I wait a little longer before I make that swing? Because once you make a big swing in whether it's free agency or whatever, that's a big chunk of your money, and it's hard to get out of those holes. So at the end of the day, the results is a championship. So that's why you got to be careful with these big swings.
Yeah, they got to be calculated. They got to be timed, because if you make a big swing at the wrong moment, that can actually turn into a handcuff on you actually fixing something else with your team. So, I have no problem with Marco Parsons, the player, but like if you were to make that swing, considering he's going to need to get paid on top of that, then that could limit you. You got to get the offensive line, I think, locked in before you make a type of move like that. That's the type of move that you make when everything else is basically solid or above solid. And then that's your Super Bowl championship move. That's all right, now we're going for the title. And the Bears really aren't at that place yet. So we'll see though.
Yeah. It's like the Khalil Mack move.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you can argue Khalil was detrimental, then it helped at the same time, but that's a different story of another juncture. But
Yeah.
that you just got to be calculated, which I'm not worried about it because we seen him with Matthew Judon, we seen him even with Sweat. He was very calculated in every move he tried or attempted to make or has made.
Yeah, we'll just see continue for Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles has been smart so far. But yeah, any other thoughts, Steve-O, before we get up out of here, man?
Um, I'm eager to see what the DB room looks like at the end of the day because
Yeah.
I felt like that's like I said last night. I
Oh,
feel like that's the
we
one.
just got a couple of more cuts.
Oh shit, let's go.
Avante Collins and Adrian Colbert have both been cut as well.
Yeah, I think
16 more cuts.
Colbert. He did a nice job. I don't think he did enough. I think he had one game where you probably heard his name more than once. But like the people we think are gonna make this team, like a Hardy Reddies and people, Baskervilles, Agbamigas,
Yeah.
they did it for the majority of every other game or every game. They did it for a long period of time. They did it consistently. You constantly heard their name. They constantly was around the football. They constantly made a difference. So yeah, I can see why those two didn't make it. But that's why before you said that, I'm just eager to see. I think they're taking their time when it comes to the DB room because that's probably the hardest position to cut all those players because we had a solid DB room this preseason.
Oh yeah, I said it before. I think was that when we were live last night. Like
Yeah.
the cornerback position for the Chicago Bears may be the most difficult rotation to crack in all of football right now. It just is. Like when you look at the talent, like you're talking about literally going 6 cornerbacks deep, and all of them you could see being solid if they need a spot start. A lot of teams can't say that. No, matter of fact, I'll go on to say that maybe no other team can say that. So, hey, we'll see, man.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. But all right, any last thoughts, Steve, before we get up out of here?
Nah.
All right, y'all make sure
Tune in.
y'all stay in tune with us, man. We'll be again live later on today. If there's another kind of set of big cuts, I went live rather than wait on the overall day because I think Collin Johnson was one a lot of Bears fans were hoping was going to be able to make the team. Unfortunately, I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If you can't stay healthy, you just never know.
Don't make the team.
Yep. But y'all stay in tune with us. Hit that subscribe button. When news drops, we drop. That's just the way it works around here at Chicago Bears Central. We'll be live at the cut deadline time period as well. Well, the guys, I unfortunately have to go live over on Bleach Report. I'll come over here shortly thereafter. But the guys will be holding it down right after the cut deadline. I'll be in here about 20 minutes later. But that's it, man. Make sure you guys follow us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, number to do so, 773-242-9336 with the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related.